We have Andrea Lewandowski from the New Jersey State Library System.
So now I'm going to get into some of the more specific things. Okay, so what can libraries do for you? So basically, this is a national program. It did not include New Jersey Library, but the lessons from it have been really wonderful for getting libraries to understand how they can better assist business owners make those crucial connections in the business community, and fill the gaps that are not being filled otherwise through partnerships and the resources that they have. So, so what can libraries do for you? So I just saw this report yesterday, and I wanted to share this because I thought it was just a nice way of showing the variety of things that could be offered in a library. So this was research that was recently conducted by Mount Auburn Associates for Measures That Matter, which is a project to examine, evaluate, and map the landscape of public library data collection in the United States. And it was started by the Institute of Museum and Library Services and the chief officers of state library agencies. And it separates workforce development, business development services into categories. So standard services are the basic things that most libraries can offer, including in New Jersey. And then the specialized and community hub services will vary from place to place. And I think that this really shows the variety as well among New Jersey's and libraries. And that's all based on funding, staffing levels, even things like physical layout of their buildings, but then also community needs and other things with what they're able to offer. So all of that is to say, visit your local library's website or go in person to learn more. So that should be your first step. If you log off now, if the webinar accidentally ends again, visit your local library, talk to the librarians on staff, or go to the website and take a look around. In most counties in New Jersey, there are some resources that go above and beyond what I'm going to share today. But the staff there can answer your questions and point out the resources that are available to you because you're a part of that library. And also keep in mind that if you work or go to school in a place that is different from where you live, you may be eligible for additional library cards. So it's kind of like Pokemon, you got to catch them all. So go, even if you work in a different place, just go on their website and see if you are eligible to get a library card for that town's library, because you may have access to resources that are different from what's in your local community. Keep in mind that and take the time to introduce yourself at your library, ask questions, and find out what is available. So I just pulled out a few of the libraries across the state that have some special resource collections for business owners. Many libraries also offer learning opportunities, and these would be listed on their website. These may be in person or online. COVID, as Suzanne was saying earlier, has really changed the way that things have been delivered. And so Zoom and online meetings have become a way that libraries are offering information as well. So Roxbury Public Library is offering a training on reference solutions, which is a resource that I will be talking about briefly. But if you wanted to learn more, then you can check out this class. This is an example of something that's being held virtually and in person. And sometimes with these classes, you don't have to be a resident of that community in order to attend. In many cases, they're open to anyone who comes in. So that's
and Andrea, we very often have the gentleman that talks about reference solutions around the state and how to access that. As long as you have a library card, you can access it for free. And it's unbelievable. So I'm sure you'll talk about it a little bit, but SCORE also has had multiple presentations on that database that you have available through the library. I think the Central Jersey chapter had one recently. About every 6 months, one of our chapters in New Jersey has a webinar on how to use that system. It's a little bit complicated, but the resources are fabulous.
Yes. And you're in the right place too for that, because if you don't know how to use, or, you have this amazing system in reference solutions, but if you're not sure how to use the data, well, you can talk to your SCORE mentor, because they know what information is going to be valuable, so they can help you to interpret what you're finding or give you some suggestions on the type of information that you might need based on what you're looking for.
Nice tie-in. Thank you.
Yeah.
And also, I want to mention that the Ocean chapter, which is now the Southeast chapter, has already started in the beginning of October now to offer in-person live webinars at all of the Ocean County libraries. So they're doing them in person. Go to their website, southeastnj.score.org, and that every week they're having how to start a business, how to do marketing in your business. So they are doing, and very often the chapters around the state do presentations and host their seminars at the libraries physically.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. So I just have a couple other examples just to show that these opportunities can happen all across the state. So Camden County has a business, writing a business plan virtual event coming up later this month. And Princeton Public Library is offering WordPress in person, WordPress for website building. And I wanted to just point out as well that libraries serve an important role, not just for business topics strictly, but also these digital skills trainings. It's more and more important for business owners to have technology skills, and your local library is a great place to find this information and more. Many libraries subscribe to learning resources like LinkedIn Learning. There's other video-based products that teach you how to use computers or do things online that you may not have realized that you needed to do. So that's another reason to visit your libraries. If you don't feel confident on technology, they will be able to point you in the right direction for that. So one thing that, just to sum that up, your local library will have learning opportunities, and so take a look at their website to find those. The New Jersey State Library and local libraries forge partnerships with business organizations, including the ones listed here. Again, these partnerships will vary from place to place, but these types of organizations see libraries as a place to reach people, host events, or training in a neutral location, and then also just to find information. So if you represent a business group or you're affiliated with a chamber of commerce, in addition to the other things that you're doing, you may want to reach out to your local library to see what they offer or might be able to provide for your group as well. And Suzanne, you've done an excellent job of pointing out the strong relationship, the partnerships between SCORE and libraries as well, that your in-person SCORE meetings might be happening at a local library.
Yes, now that we've gone back to in-person, a lot of the chapters are starting to do it, but Ocean chapter, the Ocean County chapter was really the first one. They really gung-ho, have a whole schedule for October, November, and now December that they're putting together. You know, an hour, a half hour. In fact, I've been a presenter at a lot of the libraries around the state for the different chapters. They use them on a regular basis.
Excellent. Thank you. So now I'm going to talk to you about some of the resources. So libraries have access to books, journals, newspapers, databases, and other information in a variety of formats. I'm going to highlight some of the online things that you can do because they're most applicable across the state. But again, your local library will have so much more. So make sure that you visit or check out their website. I also like to say that what I'm going to share in the next couple of slides is the bare minimum of what you can access through your library, because your local library might have more, but they will have at least what I'm showing. These things are paid for by federal funds to the New Jersey State Library, and the New Jersey State Library licenses these resources throughout the state. So you can find this information on the New Jersey State Library's website or on the local library website. So you can go to this site, jerseyclicks.org, and this will give you the full list of the statewide databases. As I said, they're offered to every library and all New Jersey residents, and you do not need to be in your library to access them. You can go to this website from your home, office, your car, on your phone, wherever. And most of these are geolocated, which means that you may not even need to log in order to use them. But I always recommend that you get your library card. One reason is that if there is an issue, you may need to log in with your library card. but also it's just good to have and to make use of the other things in your local library. So that while there are more databases than the one that I listed here on the slide, this is the ones that are specific to business topics. So Business Source Elite, Regional Business News, Reference Solutions, and Small Business Reference Center. And in the slides, I want to highlight Reference Solutions because it is one of the most popular, most used of the statewide databases. And Reference Solutions is a product from Data Axle. If you've been using this for a while, you may remember it as Reference USA, but they did change the name a few years ago. They refer to themselves as the largest compiler of business and consumer data. And in their most recent audit, in which they compared themselves against other top companies, they found that their information was the most accurate in the industry. And I know that other people purchase Data Axle lists directly from them. And Reference Solutions is their version that they offer to libraries where people can find this information for free. Staff at Data Axle, so the information in a Reference Solutions is gathered from public sources, but then staff at Data Axle follow up in order to verify and make sure that everything is accurate. Some of the collections that are available in Reference Solutions are U.S. businesses, new businesses, there's a residential search, and there's consumer and lifestyles. And then in the business database, this is some of the ways that you can search. So you can see that there, depending on what it is that you're looking for, there are ways that you can narrow down the list of potential companies. So whether you're looking at prospects because you're doing business to business sales, you're looking for a supplier, you're looking for businesses that are already operating in an area, or you want to see what competitors there are in an area, there are plenty of ways to use that information. And now I was going to take a look. I do have a quick slide with my contact information that I figure I should throw up right now, just in case we don't come back to my slides. And I can put that in the chat too. But I am going to stop this share.
Great. Putting it in the chat would be great. Apparently everybody can see it, but not everybody can put questions in it. So that's what people are telling me in the Q&A. So we seem to have gotten everybody back that was on the first time. So that's great. Thank you all for joining us again.
You're a resilient bunch because you thought to click on it again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it doesn't look like I can share with everyone. So Suzanne, I'll share it with you and then you can share
and I'll cut
information.
Yeah, I don't know. It must be like each of the chapters have their own way of doing things. So it must be. Okay, so I'll copy this.
And I see a question, Tanya. Will libraries doing virtual presentations or webinars allow anyone to sign up, or do you have to at least live in that county? So Tanya, it depends on the individual library. So I would look on the website when you see the webinar listed and see if there's anything that says that there is a requirement to live there. More and more virtual things don't have a requirement. I think you'll more likely see it if it's in person because they might be trying to keep their numbers down and prioritize the local residents. So I don't have an across the board answer, but I would just point you again to the website. And if you have any questions, you could reach out to the library. And I also offer that if you're having trouble getting in touch with a library or you're not sure of something, you can also reach out to me and I'll do my best to help. Okay.
One of the things that I've learned recently is my niece is moving to Hohokus, New Jersey, and we went to the local library in the town. It was one of the first things we did while we walked around the town for her to get to know the town. Lovely, lovely librarian there. And they had a sign that told us that there was technical support for your phone and your computer, that a couple of times a week, someone would come in, and if you needed help, you didn't have to make an appointment. You could just come in during that time frame, and that there were people there that could help you maybe resolve some issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great service that they can offer.
And the other thing is now with a lot of people having power outages, you know, in the world everywhere, the libraries, for the most part, always have internet access.
Mhm.
I know that during Sandy that I lived through, if you went to your library, you could power up your phones, you could power up your computers, and it was a wonderful resource to have.
Yeah, thank you. And because of Sandy, a lot of libraries have been focusing as well on being prepared for the next situation, the next natural disaster or crisis, so that they can meet those needs. I don't know that anyone expected during Sandy that the library would become that place. But yes, it was. It was such a gathering point for people. And then filling out forms, FEMA forms, or contacting insurance, so much of that was happening in the library. All right, so I do want to share real quick, since there was the webinar, I think the SCORE webinar on reference solutions was actually yesterday, so I don't know how many people may have attended that. So he kind of stole my thunder, Bill Carlson. But I did want to show real quick how you get into Jersey Clicks and where you would find the links to the databases, and just show you a couple of things, and then point you to the future webinars that are going to come up for reference solutions, or ask you to reach out to me if you have specific questions.
Well, Andrea, what happened was yesterday there was a reference solutions webinar hosted by the Central Jersey chapter that is hosting this webinar today. Mm-hmm. But it was only promoted to their email database. So not all of the other chapters around the state knew about it, and the people in their databases didn't know about it. It wasn't a statewide webinar. It was localized, and we do have them, like I said, probably twice a year. Mm-hmm. On the database, how to use the database, how to find, your competition, what other businesses are in your area. It's a phenomenal tool to be able to access that really has been hidden, I think. Mm-hmm. I mean, I never heard of it, and I've been in business since 1989.
Wow.
But that's an example of why you want to make sure that you join those groups that I have on Facebook and LinkedIn, so you can see the webinars that the other chapters are doing. Or if, you think, like Princeton and the Northeast chapter within SCORE do a tremendous amount of webinars every month. Mm. Some of the other chapters do 2 or 3. Those chapters do 4 to 6 every single month. So they're very active. You can sign on to their website or look at their websites and see what webinars. And everything is, pretty much virtual. You don't have to be in person. You can go. When they are doing it in person, some of them are recorded that you can access later. And then some of them do have, they do, a Zoom call in addition to having it in person. Mm-hmm. So it's important to try to see. There is tremendous amount of webinars going on around the state. We have on average 20 webinars a month around the state that SCORE is presenting for free for, the business and entrepreneur person.
That's excellent. Yeah. And Tanya is asking, I guess, so Tanya would like to see the list of chapters again. So after I'm done with this sharing, if you don't mind bringing that up, Suzanne. And Tanya was also asking if the county library would have more resources in the local town. And again, I would say it sort of depends, because yes, there are county systems that have the ability to purchase more resources or just, have staff available. But then there are some communities, like I'm thinking Cherry Hill and East Brunswick, have really prioritized business services. And so they provide additional things. So I'd say it really depends, and you're only going to know if you check out the website or ask. So don't think that if you're not part of a county system, you won't have as much access. That's really not the case. And if you're not seeing the types of things that you think would be really helpful, you can let the library know that you're interested, because they do want to be responsive. A lot of things are just based on budget. So I'm not saying if you say, well, I want more, they would be able to do it, but they won't know that there's a need for it unless they're told. So.
Well, you mentioned earlier that in Monmouth County, and I'm in Monmouth County, mm-hmm. that the headquarters for Monmouth County is Manasquan?
Manalapan.
Manalapan. Okay, mm-hmm. So Manalapan. So you might be, in a different section of Monmouth County. But if you go to the local library, they'll have the information of what's going on at the other libraries too, I would assume.
Mhm.
And it may be just a library 10 miles away that has something else that you need, or they're hosting. And like in Monmouth County, they're having events constantly in the different libraries, and it's their 100th anniversary,
Yeah.
right now.
Mhm.
So go to the library, ask them what's happening in the other libraries, because I would think that they'd have them.
Yeah.
And yes, I will put the list up of all the chapters again.
Great, thank you. So if you go to jerseyclicks.org, it will redirect to the New Jersey State Library's website. So that's why you see the longer URL showing up on my screen. But, and I can share the PDF of my slides as well, so that you'll have the clickable links. But then if on this page, you can scroll down and you will see the list of all of the statewide databases. So there are more than the ones that I mentioned, but I highlighted some of the business ones. And then if you click on this, it'll open up more information about what's included in there. And there is a link from all of these for database training. So some of that might be more general training about how to use the database, but for others, it will be a little bit more specific. So like down here under reference solutions, this database training, oh no, what is it? Oh, you know what it does? It kind of slides you down here. So Data Axle. This is a webinar that was done recently about reference solutions for librarians, but I mean, anyone can attend this. It's going to be the same information. But if you watch this webinar, then you'll find out more about how to use reference solutions. And so these trainings are right here. So if you don't know where there's a webinar happening, but you want to learn more, that is all linked right here. But a couple of the databases I wanted to point out, I already opened up. This is Business Source Elite, and this can be useful for doing searches of trade publications, business topics. So you can type things in and do a search. If you already know a publication, see, I opened this up earlier, and then now it's giving me trouble. Okay, I timed out. All right, so another thing that you can do is if you already know a publication, you can come up to this bar. And so I know in here is the Harvard Business Review. And if I wanted to search within here, I could, or if I want to browse, I can even go to a recent issue. In the information in the middle, it'll tell you what the time frame is, if you can get the most recent. But in here, I can just start reading through the full text and open up a PDF if I would like to read these publications. Another thing that is available in here are business profiles. These are for Barnes. These are Barnes company profiles. And so it's an alphabetical list of about 10,000 company profiles, I believe. And these would give you reports so that you could learn more about this analysis of these companies.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the reference database is for nationwide companies and information. It's not just local, but you can skinny it down to your region, your state, and your actual zip code in some cases.
So here's the tricky thing is this Zoom thing is like right in the, oh, let me move it. Okay. So I'll show you reference solutions since that one is so popular, and that's what you're referring to, Suzanne. So in reference solutions, you can do these directory searches and make a list of companies. So if I go into US businesses, you have a quick search that shows up here, but more than likely you're going to want to go into this advanced search. If you don't know, if you're trying to make a list, you're not looking for a specific company or person. And then over on the left are all of the categories of ways that you can search. So say I was looking for restaurants in Mercer County, which is where I live, because I'm thinking about opening a restaurant and I want to know what's already there. Under business type, I can look for SIC or NAICS codes. and type in restaurants.
Someone is also asking about, does the database include the Chamber of Commerce's or industry-specific networking organizations?
I believe it. I know it definitely includes government. We can do a search and we can see what pops up for chambers of commerce. But for this one, I'm just going to do a quick search of restaurants. So once I select it from here, it adds it to my search. And I can even see that over here if I update my count. Now that 16 million has gone down to 741,000. And over here, I can select county and select New Jersey. And here's Mercer County. And I'll update this again. Now I'm down to 820. And if I wanted to view my results, they're in alphabetical order. Anytime I see this kind of symbol, this refers to a corporate tree. That means that this is a branch or subsidiary of a larger company. And by clicking on these links, I can make this one. Oops. I hit too fast. This is giving me the larger company. So I can research all of 7-Eleven, not just that one location. But going back, I can select ones that I'm interested in downloading. I have the option to download or print, and that will give me however much information that I want. I can get all the data. I can select customized fields if there's certain things that I'm looking for. This gives you the full list of everything that you can include. So you can really download what is going to be most useful for you. And then in an Excel spreadsheet, it's much easier to go through the data and either do an analysis or save it or do mailings if you're going to be mailing things out. I'm going to click on one of these just to show you what a profile looks like. So this is additional information that I can get about the company. Some companies will have their Indeed job listings linked here. I can learn about their sales volume. Some of this information, particularly about their business expenditures, might be an estimate, or they might be based on algorithms for similar companies, but still gives you a sense if that information is kind of what you're interested in approaching the business for. We get some historical information. And then we can see what nearby businesses are geographically. And we can also see what some of the competitors are. So it is a very robust profile, and depending on the type of company and the amount of information that's there, this can be pretty lengthy, pulling in updated news items, stock data, and other things.
And you don't need to be on site at a library and actually access this information. You can do it remotely.
Correct. Yes, you can do this completely remotely.
Okay. So there's a couple of other questions that I transferred from the Q&A into the chat room. Okay. Let's see if we can go back to some of them. Some of them you answered already. I will send out the slides that Andrea presented today, so you'll have that information of the slides that she used. We have Andrea's information. I am going to pull up before we end the call the list of all of the other SCORE chapters. And we answered the question about the data, the Chamber of Commerce's. Did we answer that question?
I'll go back and I'll try to do a search for it.
Okay. And another person had said they've been to their library for databases, but it came up so much information. And they were searching for export secondhand electronics. So is the way that someone can teach them how to look into it? Yes, absolutely. Go to that one of the webinars that they're doing, the reference database. They have regular instructional webinars all the time. SCORE does them. The library does them. So there's lots of places that you can learn how to use that system better, because it is very complicated if you really want to drill down.
Yeah, you can even see up here, there is this webinars button. So once you're in the database, you can even see what they're offering. They do these regularly. So you can sign up and attend a webinar that's even run by Data Axle, by the company, to learn more about how to use it. So don't think that you're kind of just being dropped and expected to learn on your own. There are so many ways that you can learn to use this. And let me go back. I will point out that this is US and Canadian businesses. So this isn't international. So just to keep that in mind. And I'm going to go into the advanced search. Now this is
So the first step would be to go to your local library and actually get a library card. And then actually that's usable in multiple libraries, as far as I understand, in your county typically. And find out from your local library the resources that they have. And like I said, one of the things that SCORE does is they regularly hold seminars now that we're going back to in person at the library. And there's lots of other seminars that are held at the libraries, your local libraries in your counties. And I think you also allow business professionals to actually do presentations at the libraries. And there's no cost to use one of the conference rooms. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely check with the local library. I think most libraries are just concerned if something becomes a sales pitch, but if you have general information, libraries love to be able to bring in speakers, particularly if you're willing to speak for free or low cost, and know that there is an audience for that. There's so many people who love to connect to the information. And if you're approaching them, then that's less work they have to do. So definitely do that. I just want to point out in the SIC codes that I just typed chamber into the search, and there are exact matches for chambers of commerce, business and trade organizations. So I could do that for, let's just do New Jersey. So we have 314 in New Jersey.
Wow.
So yeah, so this would be a way that you could search for those organizations. I know that we're coming up to time, so I feel like this was whetting everybody's appetite and hopefully encouraging them to get into the library. But please let me know if you have any specific questions or run into issues, and I'm happy to help you walk through it or put you in touch with somebody who can help.
Okay, so I don't think that there's any more questions in the Q&A. And for some reason, people couldn't ask questions in the chat room, even though I could. And I'd like to, if you stop sharing your screen, I'd like to bring up the screen of the chapter websites. And let me bring that back up, if I still have it. No, I don't have it opened up. So now I have to go open it up. I must have closed it when we got knocked off. But even though that there's chapters around the state, you can go to a virtual event for any chapter at any time. It doesn't matter. We're all virtual. You can actually have mentors. Can you see that? Can you see the screen? Okay. And so these are the lists of the chapters. The Northeast covers Bergen County and some other counties. The Northwest, Warren and Morris. The Metro is, around the Newark area. Central Jersey is East Brunswick, Somerset area. Princeton is Southwest. And the Monmouth chapter is Monmouth County. And the Southeast chapter actually now covers all of the southern east part of New Jersey. But when everybody was, only meeting in person, that really made a difference. But now that everything is so virtual, you don't have to have a mentor from a local chapter. You can have a mentor from anywhere in the country, actually. Doesn't even have to be in New Jersey. We'd like you to think that we have enough mentors. There's over 400 of them in New Jersey with all your expertise. But come and meet them next Thursday. We're going to have 6 of them on a call. We're going to have this circle call. Come and meet the mentors. They're entertaining. They're so helpful. They're so experienced. They have a wealth of information. We have attorneys. We have CPAs. We have all kinds of, expertise. These are the websites. Every chapter has the name of the chapter, .score.org. But like I said, they have Facebook pages, they have LinkedIn pages, they have YouTube pages, they have unbelievable information. And now that they're starting to go back in person, they're doing live seminars, mostly at the libraries, because that's the place that, SCORE basically partnered with the library system to do that. So hopefully, let me see if I can copy this information. Oh, here I can. And put it in the chat, if I can find the chat. Let me see. Meeting controls.
Maybe
Okay.
if we stop the share, it'll be easier to see it if it's hard.
Right. Okay. So I just want to thank Andrea. We're sorry we had some technical difficulties here, but I'm glad everybody got back on. And this S. Melvin is thanking us also in the Q&A. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And look forward to seeing you again, maybe next Thursday or on some other webinars. Feel free to go to the library system. It is a wealth of information, and SCORE partners with that. The mentors and the SCORE organization itself partners with the library system across the country. So, Andrea, thank you so much for all this information. We'll have you back again. And have a good rest of the day, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. Take care. Bye.